Buckle up for another episode of Ghostfacers, a supernatural rewatch podcast. My name is Richard, and sitting shotgun as always is my brother in podcasting, Reed. Hey. This is an episode of firsts. It is. It's the first time we get Ed and Harry. You're going to love them.
Ghostfacers!
Well, I mean, if this is your first time going through, you don't even know who that is.
No.
It's exciting, though.
So exciting.
You get that. You get a prank war. You get some fun with the boys. You get some beautiful crane shots. Those are new.
Yeah, and best of all, you get some hanging and axing.
Yes, and it's on Thursday. Not for you, probably, because it's now and the show's not on anymore. But it was off the first time it's on Thursday.
So many firsts.
Oh, my God. Let's get into it.
Ghostfacers! We're facing ghosts, when others will not. We're ghosts! Ghostfacers! Stay in the kitchen when the kitchen gets hot. Ghosts! Ghostfacers! We're facing nightmare, we're facing dread. Ghosts! Ghostfacers! We're facing faceless, we're facing dead.
Welcome to Ghostfacers. Today we're discussing episode number 17, Hell House.
Hell House.
Oh, hell.
House!
Yeah, that's what they meant.
That's where that surly doctor has to atone for all of his sins in life.
Hell House?
Hell House. The weird final season of that show.
Yeah, that's really weird. This episode aired March 30th, 2006. Mm-hmm.
The inexplicable gap.
Yeah.
That may or may not have been Olympics.
I mean, that's a way to describe my body.
No one has ever described your body and used the word Olympics at the same time.
No, but an inexplicable gap.
Oh, inexplicable. Oh, God.
This episode
That's so vile. Good Lord.
This episode was written by Trey Calloway, directed by Chris Long,
Okay.
viewed by...
Have either of those done an episode?
No,
yet?
these are
neither
new.
of those names feel
No, they're
like
new.
ones that we've heard before.
Definitely not Trey. Chris, maybe.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have forgotten about Trey.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's nice, yeah.
Nowadays, every Christmas go to log. Supernatural.
No, come on.
Oh, I think a scorpion just took over my brain.
Scorpion King?
Or the scorpions.
Oh.
No one like you.
I'd wait for a one like you.
I never thought that they were foreign until you mentioned it.
I know.
And now it's all I can hear when I listen to Scorpions.
It's very funny. Do you listen to Scorpions often?
I do, actually. I really like the Scorpions.
That's amazing. This episode was viewed by an estimated 3.76 million viewers.
Right. Dipping down again.
That's right. International
I'm
titles.
saying it like I'm judging the show that was on for 15 years.
Yeah.
Losing,
I don't know if you're going to make it.
losing people.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe try a little harder.
So, international titles. We got the Finnish, the Polish, the Spanish, and yes, even the Hungarian title are all just Hell House.
Sure. I mean, why mess with it?
Yeah, it's simple. Well, Brazilian decided to do that. This needed it. The opposite of Facebook. Brazilian wanted to add a the. This is the Hell House.
Add the.
It's more
less,
complicated.
It's less clean.
It's more complicated. Add a the. The Germans are concerned that people might get the wrong idea about this episode, so this is Haunted House.
Sure. We don't want anyone coming into this episode thinking they're going to see a devil with horns and a tail and a pitchfork, when really they're just going to see, at best, a haunting.
Well, exactly, right? I mean, you don't want to get the wrong impression.
The German people really like they like to guard against like false expectations.
Yeah, they have a. Well, I mean, yeah.
Wow.
They don't want anybody
I feel
getting
like there's something controversial in there, but I don't want to dig deep enough to explore it.
They don't want anybody getting the wrong idea about anything.
Yeah, certainly there are no wrong ideas to have about the German people. We are history's greatest victors, of course.
Oh no.
Certainly always on the right side of history.
The right side.
Oh no. Here's an episode. Here's a haunted house. Here we go.
So moving down the list, Italian.
Hella house.
Yeah. It's Dante's Inferno. No, it's the Infernal House.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but again, the Italians know hell. Dante knew what was up.
Yeah, that's right. This is only like the first level.
Yeah. Oh, man. Could you imagine if they did this show where for the first 9 seasons, each season was more and more like dealing with one of the layers of hell?
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, God. I mean, not that I want to correct this show.
Someone really needs to come in and do a rewrite.
Yeah. You know what this show needs? A guiding hand to help it last long. Yeah.
And the final one, the French, is by force of will.
Oh, my God. By sheer force of will.
That's
Technically accurate, but very very French of them to be like, this is the sinking man's episode of this show. But it's like, it's not. I believe it was Voltaire who said Dad's been on a hunting trip and he hasn't been back in a few days.
If you have if for some reason you get this weird strange sense that there's like a spiritual energy formation of an ensign in your house, that's by force of will.
By force of Will Wheaton.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you?
That's 2 levels deep, my friend.
Yeah.
Yes, by force of will. Because but it's really like selling the like cow. Like,
I love the idea of like, I know this isn't what's happened, but it would be funny if every French title was just like 1 or 2 levels too sophisticated for what the episode was. Like, do an episode about whatever. Like you do the episode about From Home, and they would just call it like Fire in the Soul or something like that. And you'd be like, oh, what's this episode about?
Yeah,
And you'd be like,
exactly.
oh, it's about a fire.
Yeah.
And their mom.
this episode is called Mommy Come Back at the Fire.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So, TV Guide describes this episode as The Legend of a Haunted House. Literally, it says literally, which I think something about that's very funny.
You're just picturing Rob Lowe in Parks and Rec?
Yeah, The Legend of a Haunted House literally takes on a murderous life of its own via a website. Ooh.
I mean, it's a confusingly worded synopsis,
Yeah.
but again, like the French title, accurate. And when you look back, you're like, oh, I see what they were saying.
Yeah.
But they just said it clunkily.
Yes. That in itself was clunky.
McClunky.
McClunkle.
McClunky. McClunkle.
And the Winchester brothers take aim to stop it.
Yeah. Of course they do.
Take
of
aim.
course they
Take aim
fucking
at
do.
my heart.
Shut through the heart.
Thank you. That's what I was going for. So, some featured music from this episode. Ton of music in this soundtrack. Ton of songs.
All right.
Crazy.
Let's have them.
You got
Crazy by Heart? Or
Yeah.
Crazy on You, I mean by Heart?
Crazy on you,
Oh,
Dean.
God. I would go crazy on you.
Jaded Little Love Song by Rob Meany and Tara Mara.
Okay.
What? Oh my God, I'm talking. Stop. Oh my God.
I love how the only soundbite that's playing is you saying, I could pull it out and look at it. After we talked about going crazy on Dean. That's the best possible line.
I hope I didn't actually get picked up by the mic because then it's even funny.
That's incredible.
This is 2 weeks in a row that there's been nonsense going on in these episodes.
Yeah. Well, you know, we like to keep things interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Like
doing.
this show should really try to do if they want to get more than one season.
Come on, Kripke, get your shit together. You want to make it in this industry?
God, I don't even think he's got a 5-year plan for this.
No. That's good. That's good. Yeah, I like that. We got Fire of Unknown Origin by Blue Oyster Cult.
Okay.
Burnin' for You, Dean, by Blue Oyster Cult.
Sure, yeah.
Slow Death by Extreme Music and Anthem by Extreme Music.
Extreme.
Music.
Music.
Extreme music. Point of No Return by Rex Horbart and the Misery Boys. He really needs to change that name.
So that's Horblart Mall Cop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My son's name is Horbort. Fast Train Down by the Waco Brothers.
Okay.
Explosive
Just
music.
moving on there.
Yep. Vicky and Jackie by Robert Roth.
All right. A bunch of those I don't know.
Me either.
Or at least I don't know by name.
No, I'd be curious to listen to them, but we're streaming it, so we don't get to hear any of it.
No. So we get Santa Monica by Theory of a Dead Man.
No, that's way too known of a song.
Oh, yeah, sure.
San Diego by Theory of a Live Guy. Idea by a Live Guy.
Such a... That's so stupid. That's so dumb. I really enjoyed that joke. I really like that joke.
Yeah, concepts from a Live Guy. So, before getting into some thoughts on today's episode, why don't we open up Dad's journal and talk about some of the real world lore about today's monster?
Whoa, that was a real little... That's like when a roller coaster like dips a little bit before the big...
Yeah.
The real world
lore!
Let's see what the lore says about Tulpa.
Tulpa! It's a Tulpa!
Get to the Tulpa!
There, yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So Tulpa is a 20th century term, but it's derived from a Tibetan word, sprulpa.
I love it.
I'm not even going to attempt a Tibetan accent. I don't even know what it would sound like.
Regardless.
I've never heard one.
No, I think you should go for it.
Yeah. Sprulpa.
What I like is that I like that it was derived from that. Like someone was like, I don't know how to say that word.
I can't say sprulpa. What about it? Try tea.
Yeah.
It's cleaner. So, but that word means manifestation. Essentially,
You say Sprulpa, I say Tulpa. Sprulpa, Tulpa. Let's call the whole thing up.
I kind of wish there was like a full-on musical episode of Supernatural.
They never really go full Buffy with it.
No, that's...
Part of me thinks that it's because Sam can't sing, but...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe not.
But to hear Jensen go for it.
Oh. Sorry.
Where were we?
Essentially, a tulpa is a paranormal being or an object which is created mentally or spiritually, which means that like if it is believed in strongly enough, these entities not only exist, but they actually gain a life of their own, with their own thoughts and feelings. So you're essentially willing something into existence, looking at you, French title.
Yeah.
So there's a 20th century Buddhist thinker named Alexandra David Niel, who described creating a tulpa of her own, which she said then became so sinister it eventually had to be destroyed. Just very funny to me.
That's insane. Yeah.
According to a Buddhist text that I also cannot pronounce, but will say, the Pali Samanaphala Sutta,
Wow.
something called mind-made body is listed as an ability that those capable of like deep contemplation might possess. So,
You think Dean's a Tulpa? Because that my mind definitely made that body.
No. God made that body.
Yeah.
For our minds.
Oh no.
It's all connected. All of this is connected to the idea of like the three bodies of Buddha. There's like the physical body, the divine incarnation, and the ultimate reality. So when they talk about mind-made body, they're sort of talking about like how through meditation you might transport yourself into like a heavenly realm through like the continuum of the mind stream, essentially. In the 20th century, all of these concepts were adapted into the terms tulpa or thought form.
Okay.
So it includes Western occult ideas like astral projection or like auric emanations, like things to do with your aura and stuff like that. In the late 90s and early 2000s, the sort of Western fascination with the idea moved online and spawned a bunch of like online communities of people dedicated to trying to bring imaginary beings to life.
Really?
There's all sorts of online communities trying to create tulpa or claiming they've created tulpa. So there's a bunch of groups on like 4chan and Reddit. A lot of them refer to themselves as tulpamancers.
Oh, is that why I was constantly getting asked ASL if I wanted to know if I was a tulpa?
Yeah.
Are you the one?
Well, kind of notably, there was a My Little Pony group that attempted to bring some imaginary friends into the real world in this way.
Good Lord.
Yeah. I also, like, a sort of footer on a couple of the articles I read is like, some people in these groups believe they have a sexual relationship with their tulpa. It's very taboo. And they kind of like, moving on. And they
Never mind. Anyways.
But I think there's also like, some of these groups claim they have actually created tulpas in this way through the power of collective belief. But you could also make the argument in a sort of like meta way that a different form of tulpa also exists where online communities can spawn an urban legend, which then takes and then people believe in because they believe in it.
Slender Man is a classic example.
That's exactly it, right? Slender Man, setting aside whether or not Slender Man physically exists, Slender Man now does exist because of the collective belief of people who, at one point, there was no Slender Man. Yeah. And now there is one.
I mean, you could say,
like, just as an idea.
Art is like that.
Technically, that's like all ideas and concepts. So if you have these sort of Eastern beliefs about like the sort of like cyclical nature of life and energy in that, it's no crazier to think that an idea can be spawned than an actual being, right? Like you can see where the connection is, where you could like will something into existence, which is, that's what a tulpa is.
It's called The Secret.
Oh, God. Is that what that's about?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Oh.
It's about like, positive thinking and like willing your goals into existence,
Oh. That's not the same.
I mean, kind of.
They will a being into existence, like a Mr. Meeseeks
no,
that does things for you.
No, it's more of just like good things happening.
Oh. No, I don't believe that. That's complete bullshit. Tulpas are real. That's not.
Good things can't happen to you.
Good things don't happen. You lost me at good things.
What is this good thing?
Good things?
It doesn't sound like a real thing.
No, it's not English.
All right.
And therefore not real.
Well, I guess it's time to get into the episode then.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
All right.
Let's jump into
Hellos. Hell House.
Down. So,
22 years ago.
Obviously, of course. This is also, of course, the first, if you'd listened to the previous episode, you'll know already that this is the first episode to air on Thursday.
I thought we said the last one was
That was the last one to air on Tuesday. This is the first one to air on Thursday.
Gotcha.
Replacing Everwood on Thursday nights.
Oh, right. I remember making an Everwood joke.
That's right. Yeah. Every time I look at Dina, I get Everwood. So this episode starts by taking place in Richardson, Texas.
2 months ago, it says.
Which is Jensen Ackles' hometown.
Really?
In real life, yeah.
Hey, little shout out.
Richardson, Texas, where this episode is said to take place, is the suburb of the densely populated Dallas/Fort Worth Metroplex. The site used to film in this episode looks nothing like Richardson, Texas. In the beginning of the episode, Sam and Dean are driving down a 2-lane blacktop. This is subtitled Interstate 35. In Richardson, the major highway that runs through the suburb is the US 75 and I-35E, an 8 and sometimes 12-lane freeway.
Oh, God. It's not just like a back road. It's like
about 10 to 15 miles east of Richardson.
It's like a major Texas highway.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Funny.
So
we see all these kids in the woods, and they come to this abandoned house, and they go like, how did you find out about this place? It goes, I saw it online, and
you can't see places online. That doesn't make any sense.
And they go into this house, and there's weird symbols on the wall. There's like pentagrams and all sorts of.
So you're like
weird
classic
shit.
Like teens find an abandoned house kind of in the woods story.
Totally.
Feels very similar. I mean, reminds me a lot of like Cabin in the Woods, which is really a parody on this kind of stuff, anyways.
Yeah,
which is awesome. It's a spooky ass house. I mean, they do a good job sort of like setting this up to feel like what you expect like the teens to hear about and go out to.
Totally. And he's saying like, they say it goes
Yeah.
after girls, or they say it strings them up. Like he is like, it's all hearsay. He's relaying information that he himself was not told directly. Like, it's the idea of just like this urban legend, this myth of whatever is supposed to be haunting this
Was there
house.
any, like, in your hometown, any, like, urban legendsy kind of things? I think we've talked a bit about it with, like, abandoned buildings, but it just in general?
Not that I can think of it in my hometown.
No.
Because I don't think my hometown was interesting enough for that kind of stuff. There was talk that in the one high school that there was a ghost. Because it was like one of those old castle-style collegiate
I went to,
schools.
my high school was Kennedy Collegiate. Yeah, it was very much like
Galt
castle-y.
Collegiate was this big castle on the river, and there was some talk that there was a ghost in there.
We had like the end of this road, this like county road was supposed to be haunted. Texas Road, it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I think we were just too much of a suburb bedroom community to have like real good stories, you know?
Those are the towns that either have like really scary shit,
right,
or nothing at all.
Yeah, and it could also just be that the people I hung out with were also just not people that like either cared about, like maybe there are a bunch of like urban legends from my town, and someone listening from there is screaming at me right now.
Yeah, reach out, I guess.
I don't know anything.
So
about
anyway,
it,
so these teens go into the basement and they end up finding the body of like this hanging girl in the cellar. But by the time that the police finally arrive, the body is missing.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the basic thing.
So messed up.
So now we're with the boys and they're in the Impala.
And we are now present day. So everything we just saw was 2 months ago.
Yes,
supposedly.
exactly.
And now we're with them present day.
I love
driving down what is apparently not I-35.
No, exactly. So this is funny because
oh yes,
the prank war.
Yeah.
So Sam is sleeping, so Dean puts a spoon in his mouth and takes a photo. Oh,
which is
wow, you really got him.
Which I mean, I think strictly speaking, it's not a prank.
No, it's just a thing.
It's just a thing
you did.
It's just a thing you do.
Yeah, it's not super good.
It'd be a prank if there was something in the spoon. Dean is so proud of himself. Though. He's like, I fucking spoon mouthed you.
What's funny is Jared Padalecki is actually known for playing pranks on set.
Really?
He's the prankster.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
What's also, both the caption and the characters claim the brothers are driving down Interstate 35, the little highway. A sign in the background shows 21 Texas East, though.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
I do like that Sam's like, I'm not starting the prank war again. No. Dean is like, come on, we can have some fun. They're on their way to investigate something, and Dean says, give me the lowdown. But Dean's clearly just trying to kill time while they're driving because they're a couple hours out of
exactly.
out of
yeah,
Richardson.
yeah. They're looking for somebody named Craig Thurston.
And Sam is saying
I'm Dean Thurston.
Oh God, am I ever? Yeah, I'm walking through this Sam desert trying to get my Dean thirst quenched. So Sam is talking about the legend, the same one that we saw Thurston talking about earlier.
Yeah.
That it's like a sort of misogynist ghost that goes after like girls and women. Or
I
whatever.
do like that they specifically call out that it's a misogynist ghost.
Yeah.
Because I think that like there's other characters, like creatures later on go after girls too, but it's interesting that this is the one that they were like, this one specifically. Not cool ghost.
Sam is talking a lot about doing like research on like local like lore websites, and he finds one called hellhoundslair.com,
which Dean finds very funny.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing for Dean is that he's just like, most of these people have no idea what they're talking about.
Well, because that's the thing. The irony of the show is that there's a lot of people that are sort of charlatan-y about the supernatural, like in our world. And they're like, no, but there's real shit. These fucking morons don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, you can't. They literally couldn't find anything scary if they tried.
Yeah.
So they the guys end up at this sort of drive-in, like diner-y, very like 50s vibes. And they even do this like series of like interviews. It's almost like American Graffiti style.
Yeah, it is actually. That's a good point. And like the drive-in is also very kind of 50s.
When everybody's haircuts is all 50s style too.
That's a really good point, actually.
It feels like the director was specifically going for something like super specific. Like he was trying to like ape on American Graffiti a bit in this moment, which is funny because it comes up.
It's a cool little effect, though. I like it because it's a quick way for them to interview all three people without them seeing them do it. We get a sort of composite one story, but we're also getting different perspectives on it. It's pretty fun, and it's them interviewing 3 of the people that we saw.
Yeah, but they're clearly missing one, which is Craig. So they end up having to go to where he works, which is a record store. So this was like sort of the main guy that brought everybody to the haunted house.
Yeah.
It's funny because they're at a record store, so now you're actually getting Dean like looking through music and stuff like that. There's an album that Dean ends up picking up and seems impressed with in the record shop. It's Kansas classic, Point of No Return. That's the one that has its title song as Dust in the Wind.
Oh, I mean, not a title song again, because it would have to be, the album would have to be called Dust
It's
in the Wind.
the hit from the album.
You know what? Scrub this whole thing. We're gonna do this again.
But it's interesting because it's a big yeah. Like why not? It's an interesting thing to point out when Kansas will come back later on in the series. So it's kind of cool. So Craig is relating the sort of legend to the brothers, telling them that he was told by his own cousin Dana of Mordecai Murdoch, a farmer who apparently lived in the house during the 1930s and who killed his daughters, hanging them in the cellar to spare them from like starving to death because they were basically, it was the Great Depression.
Yeah.
They were running out of money and some food. And so the idea of this was that he killed his daughters rather than having them slowly die.
And then hung himself.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, so the legend is that that's what that ghost does.
Yeah.
It just hangs women because it's like, well, this is,
The Great Depression, everybody must go.
we have too many daughters.
Crazy Mordecai's hanging
Crazy
shack.
Mordecai's hell house.
Every girl must go.
Good God. Oh God. Yeah. And then Thurston says like, but the girl we saw in there was real and not from the 30s.
Yeah.
That was not a prank. They're like, she was hung in that house.
Yeah.
Dean and Sam are like, okay, well, interesting. We'll whatever. They decide to leave and go check it out.
So they go and visit the house, which I love this. I mean, I think that even the visuals in the day are really good. I still think this first season, they go a little too deep with the saturation, but I really do love like the like staging and stuff like that in this first season.
And it's just so muddy and wet. And does Texas have this many evergreen trees?
I'm gonna say
I mean,
no.
they can't help that. They're filming in Canada, but
I know. It is very funny.
Yeah.
I know if I started picking apart the like environmental stuff, we'd be here all day.
You can't. Yeah.
At a certain point, you just have to sort of do it. But I love like that's such a great shot.
Yeah.
Like the wide angle lens there. It was really, really
some
nice.
really good atmospheric stuff in the last couple of episodes, I would say.
They do some really, really good jobs with this one. I
so
like
they enter this house. We see these symbols, things we recognize like pentagrams and stuff like that are sort of these Satanist kind of things. But there's this other weird symbol that's like a cross with like an upside down question mark on it.
Mm-hmm.
We see that I can't remember what we called it, that the cross with the other crosses on it.
Oh shoot, yeah, I can't remember
Coptic cross.
Yes,
we see a couple of those or something similar to it.
Did you see his BlackBerry he was taking photos with?
Yeah,
I had
baby.
that BlackBerry.
I had a BlackBerry like that.
Oh
too.
yeah, I felt like I was an important businessman. I needed things to do.
Yeah.
I had to check my email. All I really did was play Brick Breaker.
Yeah. Oh, so much. Oh my God. Yes. Wow. That's a throwback.
Right? I kind of wish that I had it now because I loved that game.
Yeah. 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 I think if you had my BlackBerry, you would see it was a lot of hours logged on Brick Breaker.
Yeah.
And a lot of awkward, sexy text messages.
To you or from you?
Yes. Yeah.
Photos?
Yeah, maybe a couple.
You
at
had
any
the
rate,
body back then. I don't blame you.
Yeah, back then. Back in the days when BlackBerry was big.
Yeah,
not to age
I
myself.
wasn't.
So Dean is looking around and he says, like, I actually think the cops are right. I don't know that this is our kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guys hear something. They bust in a door and they find these two little...
Holy shit.
They find these two little dweebs in another room, and we finally come to...
The namesake of this
We've
show.
come to the moment at last. These guys say, we're professionals. We're paranormal investigators. We have
Holy
finally
shit.
met the Ghostfacers.
We've finally gotten here. The namesake of this show.
Yeah.
What a great way to end the year.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. Ed Zedmore and Harry Spangler.
So it's really funny. The last names of these amateur ghost hunters that Dean and Sam run into, Zedmore and Spengler, are references to the two main characters, Egon Spengler and Winston Zeddemore, in Ghostbusters from 1984.
I didn't even think of that.
Right? Isn't that awesome?
But yeah, both of these guys, like Dean is obviously like, oh Jesus, these fucking like paranormal investigators, and both of these guys are like, you're interfering with our work. We're professionals. Get out of here. They're so
like, whoa, nice equipment you got there.
someone says EM and Sam goes EM, and the guy goes electromagnetic. It's like they haven't been.
It's like if you and I became ghost hunters.
It's so funny. He's like, look at this bad boy, 28 mg, right? He's like, they're talking about it like such big dick energy kind of thing. Like, it's really funny to just watch Dean and Sam go like, these guys are the people that maybe would be most willing to believe things, and they're like, we cannot tell them about.
No, because the last thing, they'll get killed because they'll actually try to go and capture them. So funny.
Yeah, the guy's like, you hear something and it changes you. And like, be like, you just want Sam to be like, I've watched two people I love burn on a ceiling.
Yeah, exactly. I watched a man take off his skin.
Yeah, Dean and Sam leave, and I think it's Ed goes, man, that pot we smoked really gave me the giggles. It's so funny.
I love this. So now we jump to the boys are coming out of a library. It's called the Collin County Public Library. There is no Collin County Public Library.
Oh, okay.
In the Dallas Fort Worth area, public libraries are designated by cities. So it would be the Dallas Public Library or Plano, etc.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they're doing some more research.
Yeah, and Sam comes out and he says, I did some research. There was no Mordecai Murdoch, but I found a Martin Murdoch, and he had sons, not daughters. So you're like, okay, well, like,
there's part truth?
The legend is like, I would say 60% untrue at this point. And they're trying to figure that out.
Dean gets into his car and turns on the music, and what's this? The music was changed to salsa. What a prank.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing Dean hates more than foreign music.
Yeah.
This is America.
USA. USA. So they are now preparing to leave to go to the big hunt.
Yeah, we cut to another group of like scared college students. Are they supposed to be high schoolers?
Oh God, let's say college.
They look older, but yeah, they're making this one girl go in there, and I'm not sure why. I can't remember what the thing is. They're not all going in as a group. She says something like, I'll take my chance in that. Maybe the guy's like, give me a kiss or something. Like,
oh, yeah.
But they all walked out here. I'm not really sure what the setup is. But the point is, there's one girl is going in there.
It was a truth or dare situation, I believe.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Which, of course, is legally binding. You must do it.
Yeah. Because I think the guy says, like, why would you ever take the dare? Like,
oh, right. Yeah. So she goes in. Again, more shots of all of the stuff that we've seen. I will say that bit is like slightly weirdly repetitive in this episode.
You keep getting someone coming in looking at spots, and
we're just seeing
the
symbols a lot.
Well, I think they're really trying to like hammer it home to you.
Yeah.
There's a connection.
So she's in there with the smallest flashlight ever built.
It's basically a pencil with a light. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I got it in a swag bag at a conference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's some good shots here of the light poking through like holes in the wall or
they do a great
cracks in
job.
the door.
I do wonder if the light is like put in after.
I have a feeling this is all digitally darkened.
Oh, for sure it's digitally darkened. I think they're adding the like light though, I think, or expanding on what the light is, because there's no light it's that bright around that darkness. Like,
I see what you're saying. Maybe?
That's what I feel like they mess with the levels too much in this first season. They're way too dark and way too bright in moments. Like,
I think there's also a lot of like day for night kind of shooting.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Because there's light coming in from outside, but it was fully dark outside. I think we're meant to believe it's moonlight
or car,
but it's a lot of moonlight.
Yeah.
At any rate, she goes down to the basement, which I'm also not 100% sure why she's doing that. If the dare was go in the house, you go in the house. Like, if you have to get something from the house and bring it out, how would they know if you were in the basement or not?
Well, exactly, right?
So she goes down there. There's like these jars of liquid or whatever. She hears something, drops one. She starts freaking out. She kind of backs into a bit of a corner in this cellar, and the camera pans around, and we see this fucking ghost. And we just watch it hang her, which is crazy messed up.
Yeah, it's real dark. This like very like sweet looking like dorky girl too.
Yeah, I mean it's just so senseless. It's not like she was trying to do something demonic and got hers, you know.
That's a great crane shot.
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah. So cops show up again.
Okay, and with the guys coming in, that's really nice. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, the guys are now coming in to go see what happened because they had found out that the previous night a girl had died in the house and was hung from the rafters.
Yeah, and the cops are saying it's a suicide. She was a straight A student, had a full ride to university.
Yeah.
So she's definitely a high school student.
Oh god.
Played by definitely an actor that could pull that off.
Oh.
I mean, you know, no actor really pulls it off unless they're actually in high school.
Yeah.
So the guys are like, okay.
Look at that. Did you see that? The day to night there?
That is a really good transition.
They did a great job.
Just the full crossfade.
Like you would like to get the crane at the exact same spot. Like
that was good.
It's really nice. They did some really great filming in this episode. So yeah, we're the next night, and the guys are returning to the house to now go check everything off. It's
so Sam and Dean are hiding in the bushes, and Dean goes, "I don't believe it." And you see these two guys with like headlamps, and it's fucking Ed and Harry. It's the Ghostfacers showing up. Of course, they're not the Ghostfacers right now, but the one piece we didn't say is they're the guys that run the hellhoundslair.com website.
I don't know if we find out in a bit, but
they said it already.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah. So
Sam and Dean go in.
Yeah, did they scare them off?
Not yet. No, not yet.
Yeah, so Sam and Dean are in there. They've got their gear in that.
They head into the basement.
Yeah, they go down to the basement. We see the creepy jar shelf.
So there's a thing to point out here, which is that when Sam and Dean are searching in the basement of the haunted house, there's a close-up of Sam showing him his hand reaching out for a cabinet door, and it opens. It opens itself. However, the next shot shows Sam reaching for the cabinet door's knob to open the cabinet.
Oh.
Just very weird. Also, just a random point, but basements are rarely found in Northeast Texas due to the high water table. So if a house does have a basement, it requires a pump to prevent flooding. An abandoned house's basement would likely be filled with water and contents destroyed or damaged.
Interesting.
Just a fun Texas fact.
Hey, listen, I don't know much about Texas geography.
Yeah,
that is kind of
fun. That's what people are coming here for.
There you go. So they hear a sound in this cupboard.
Look, see, open.
It's open.
Now he opens the door.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it's just mice.
Oh, I mean that's always a classic horror thing that I love. Is the I think it's gonna be something scary, and it ends up being mice.
And you can see behind Sam, there's fucking axe. We got Mordecai there. They blast him with the salt shells, and he sort of dissipates, into. And
which
they say,
I like that look. Yeah,
but they have to shoot him a lot, and Sam goes like, "What kind of spirit is immune to rock salt?" They're like, "No, this is the thing."
That was a great slow-mo shot too, where the bottles all slowly fall.
There are a bunch of good shots in this, but yeah. So this spirit, whatever it is going after them, real hard with this axe.
He hits the electrical box, and makes it go blasting. But now you go back to Harry and Ed, and they've got night glasses on. The large. If you thought that flashlight before was small,
they've got those the
largest
safari vests with lots of pockets and that.
They've got literally floodlights for lamps.
So funny. And then they see Sam and Dean bust out of that house, and they actually see
Sweet Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, they're so geeky. They see the guy, and then the two like sheriffs or whatever, state troopers, they're like, come on, boys. Or like they gotta book them because like
Exactly.
it's a crime scene. She can't be there. Sam and Dean got away, of course.
So funny.
Oh God, he's just drawn that. He's such an artist. Oh, Dean.
That's right.
Dean, show me your soul.
So now again, we're looking at we're going through all of the like the symbols that have been seen, but the one that doesn't make any sense is this cross with the question mark thing.
Yeah, and Dean is saying like also, so a bunch of things aren't true already, but also now this guy went after us. We aren't chicks, basically, to paraphrase Dean.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the axe thing, and he said like he's a hanging ghost. Why is he using an axe? A ghost is usually ghosts are pretty strict to their kind of whatever their personal hell, their personal kind of haunting thing is.
Yeah.
And Sam goes to the site and he goes, someone added a new thing. They say Mordecai Murdoch was a Satanist who chopped up his victims with an axe before slitting his own wrists. And they're like, that's not, this is so different. That's not what it is, right?
Yeah. So so Dean says that the inverted cross has been used by Satanists for centuries, but the sigil of sulfur didn't show up in San Francisco until the 60s. The inverted cross, also known as the Petrine cross, St. Peter's cross, is a symbol used predominantly in Catholic imagery, although pretty rarely. Since the 2nd century AD, its earliest use is in Satanist or generally anti-Christian context, dates back to 1950s. The sigil of sulfur, as Sam called it, is really the Jerusalem cross. A cross potent within a circle was, on the other hand, first found in ancient Persian imagery and was later extensively used by Byzantines. Yes, it's more elaborate. The true sigil of sulfur is a cross and 2 cross bars and an infinity symbol at the bottom. The sigil of sulfur is also known as the brimstone cross, the Leviathan cross, and the sigil of the Leviathan.
Well, there you go.
Boom.
But Dean goes, I think I know what happened here. And
Yeah.
it's sort of about the different eras that these symbols show up and how it doesn't line up. And they go to confront Craig, basically, back at the record store. And they sort of confront him and he says, like, we thought it'd be funny if we made it look like it was haunted. Like, we kind of faked it. We just took some, like, random symbols from some albums. We painted stuff.
Yeah.
We found out this guy Murdoch used to live there. So they sort of, like, half made up the story.
Yeah.
Kind of based it on some stuff. They told people who told people, and then it went online. And these two guys put it on their stupid website.
Just that shot there, you could see how tall Sam actually is.
Yeah.
From the look, he said,
I know this guy playing Craig looks like he's in a scene with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's like,
like they have to point it up so high to get Sam's head in it. It still barely gets his head into it.
but this is a good little acting moment for this guy. He's
Yeah.
saying like it was supposed to just be a joke. Now there's like some like girls dead in the house. Like I don't know what's happening here. And yeah, that's enough for Dean and Sam. They know that this guy is not like satanic. He's not doing this.
Yeah, he said they painted the symbols to spread rumor about it as a prank. Like it was never supposed to be anything other than that, right? Like,
yeah, but it sort of gained steam once it got on Ed and Harry's
here we
website.
go. So back at the motel, the boys are trying to work out what's happening. Dean comes back to the house or to the motel, and he takes itching powder and puts it in Sam's underwear.
Also, like, what is itching powder?
No idea. I have no idea. It's a very interesting thing.
So,
So
Tibetan thought form.
there it is.
Who knows his lore?
That's right, baby.
This guy.
So
Sam.
to meet the demands of numerous fans to see the lead actor with less clothes on, a shirtless scene for Jared Padalecki was deliberately written into this episode.
I mean,
he is ripped.
and he's not even as ripped as he gets.
No, that's the thing.
He gets like uncomfortably ripped later.
But what's funny is when Sam comes out of the shower in a towel, you can actually see that he has black shorts underneath the towel if you look.
yeah, how do you shower?
Are you never nude? So we're back at the diner.
Sam is doing my job and explaining the lore.
At around 26:30 timestamp, as Sam and Dean grab their coffee at this diner, you can hear the person handing Dean, played by Jensen Ackles, and saying, "Here you go, Jensen."
Really?
Yeah, they're handed a coffee. And
But they didn't cut that audio
no,
out?
you can hear it in the background.
That's amazing.
This is sadly not a goof. What the extra server actually says at 26:14 to Dean Jensen is, "Here you go, gents." But using the subtitles on Netflix or even the box set, you can verify that. But everybody thought it was Jensen.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Sam is saying, like, so Craig said they were just taking symbols from a book.
Yeah.
They didn't know what the symbols were. And then but these symbols have meaning.
Yeah.
They're actual sigils. And then also, it's a thought form being, right? It's a tulpa. So as soon as it ends up on Ed and Harry's site, enough people see it and believe it that it starts to become an actual thing. And Sam's starting to put the pieces together, why it isn't affected by salt, why it changed tactics based on that other post that went up and things like that, why it went from being a hanging ghost to an axing ghost.
Exactly. Exactly.
And Dean says, "How are we supposed to kill an idea?"
But he goes, check out these guys' homepage. So this is actually a website that the show created.
Did they really?
It now just points to the CW site. So you can still go to it and it'll go to the CW site.
Right.
But yeah, there was a live website for a while.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
I always think that's super fun when they do that.
I kind of can't believe we're already at this episode.
Right? It feels like it would be like season 2. But
we're meeting our boys.
I know.
Yeah.
I love the itching powder. He realizes what finally happened. He's like, "I think I'm allergic." And he's just like, "Oh yeah, sure you are." So now we're going to the trailer park where the Ghostfacers live. When Sam and Dean visit the paranormal investigator nerds at their trailer, there are several witty bumper stickers pasted on the door. The biggest one reads, "Step into the light, Carol Ann." This is a reference to the Poltergeist. Yeah. Zelda Rubinstein says it to Heather O'Rourke, who plays the haunted child, Carol Ann. The trailer park used for meeting Ed and Harry has a specific motel in the background behind Sam and Dean. That motel location has been used multiple times throughout the show's history. Along with this episode being the first, it has appeared in Season 2, Episode 3, Season 3, Episode 2, Season 12, Episode 8, and has undergone a remodel from the first appearance to the last. However, the identifiable pyramid type featured still remains above the motel doors, and the first showing all the way to its last in Season 12.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we're watching the two Ghostfacers guys. I'm calling them Ghostfacers. They aren't even calling themselves that yet.
I feel like, do they not?
I don't think so. But so they're in there and like, "You're a ghost hunter, Harry." He's like trying to psych him up.
Yeah.
He's like, "But I've never seen a ghost before." And then Ed is like, "This is our ticket to sex," or whatever. These are two guys who have clearly never had sex.
Yes.
Dean and Sam have to go and basically kind of half try to get these guys to change stuff on their website.
Yeah.
So they're like, "Listen, people are showing up now and people are getting hurt." And Ed's like, "We have an obligation to tell the truth." Like he's a fucking journalist or something. It's like, okay, come on.
So what they're essentially
and then Dean and Sam kind of have a setup. Sam's like, "I could probably tell them that thing about Mordecai," and then they go to leave, and then Ed and Harry are like, wait, what do you know?
Yeah,
like, we're paranormal investigators.
yeah. Like, come on, help us out.
Yeah, so they're doing the reverse psychology kind of play on them.
Because they want to give them different information so they know how to beat Mordecai.
Yeah,
basically.
Dean and Sam's idea is that if they feed them information about how to defeat the ghost and it ends up on the website and
It'll
enough
become
people
true.
believe it, then that will become true, and then that's how they'll defeat it.
Exactly. Well, I mean, makes sense. Like, it
makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
So they find a death certificate or whatever. They say the actual cause of death was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He didn't hang or cut himself. So they're like, let's make this super easy.
Yeah.
Make it so this ghost
we can just shoot it.
Make it so we can shoot a ghost.
Which I love that. That's
very funny. Yeah. Loaded with wrought iron rounds or something like that. So they kind of give them things that feel like ghost lore, feel real. Harry runs back to the trailer. Ed's trying to play it cool a little bit. And that's the setup. That's how they're going to kill this thing, is believe its weakness into existence.
Exactly. Oh, now the guys are at like a diner restaurant, and Dean's starting to play with like one of those like talking like plaque things.
Yeah, like the fish thing.
Yeah, kind of like that. It's got like a pull string that makes the guy like laugh or something like that.
Yeah.
So funny. This is a great like sort of dynamic between them. This like prank war. I mean, they're terrible pranks, but the itching powder works. But
they're almost not pranks at all. But it's so much better than them arguing about who Dad loved more.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So they're waiting for
this, like
they have to wait for the story to spread.
Yeah, the website needs to go live. They need to like the information needs to come out so that they can then go out and act upon it. Right?
Yeah, they cheers.
Oh,
Sam doesn't take a drink, and then he's glued
Super
Dean's
glued
hand to the bottle. That is a prank.
And then he pulls the plaque thing, so the thing laughs again. I mean, it's a great like cut.
That's a good little moment.
I like
that one.
Yeah. So now it's night, and the boys are heading to the Hell House, and the cops are now going like, God, like we fucking like 3 days in a row.
We gotta stop kids from coming here to kill themselves.
Yeah,
is what the cops are thinking.
Yes, exactly. It's a hot suicide spot.
I mean, which are things that exist.
Unfortunately,
but, like, that's essentially what the cops think is happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they hear something.
Oh,
it's the thing from the restaurant. It's a nice little tie-in. So Sam and Dean have clearly set it up to be like a decoy,
so that they can get into the Hell House.
Yeah. Still going in through the door, very respectful.
Well, yeah, of course. I'm surprised they didn't knock first.
There's just a bunch of like open windows and holes in the wall on them. Still going in through the door.
Yeah. Still looking at a lot of symbols.
Dean says, I barely have any skin left on my palm. And Sam says, I am not touching that. Like
that's very funny. I will.
Oh God.
I'll
be the skin on your palm.
I'll touch his 10 football.
Just put your palms on. Yeah, so Sam and Dean, guns drawn, presumably with their wrought iron rounds,
and
fucking Ed and Harry show up. And he goes, Dean says, you try to get yourselves killed? Ed says, we're trying to get a book and movie deal.
So funny. So funny.
It's just outrage. Again, with all the kit too, like the night vision and the video camera and like whatever battery packs and stuff like that they're carrying.
It's so good. So now they're all there waiting for, and he shows up, and they just start blasting rounds into him, and it's barely doing anything.
It's not doing it. Yeah. And you can tell already that, like, from Dean's look, that he's not feeling great about it. Did we just see the guy in the shot there?
Maybe. Oh, yep, you did.
No, but I mean, he was on the other side of them. You saw him, like, in the camera.
Oh.
Like, his shoulder, like, he was literally moving around the set, and he kind of crossed into frame and then out again, but then when he shows up, he's on the opposite side of Ed and Harry. I think I just caught a weird little glitchy thing.
Yeah.
And basically they learned that, like, the guys didn't put the story on the website, or they pulled it or something like that.
Yeah, they asked if they published the BS story the brothers gave them. Sam had no need to ask them about this since he saw the story on the website earlier.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
But they say they pulled it or they took it down or they say the website went down, like the server
crashed,
or something. Yeah. So not enough people saw it to bring the thing to life.
Yeah, exactly.
To bring the weakness to life. So Sam is sort of making himself a target so that Ed and Harry don't get axed in this hallway. It's
which is funny because the guys clearly just run away.
When the guys are on their own, I love that they're like, "You're a ghost hunter." You're a ghost.
Yeah. Secondly, like the second they actually deal with any sort of trauma at all, they're gone.
They're right. They're right to run. I mean, you see how insane Sam and Dean's lives are.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like that's sort of the funny thing here.
So they decide that Dean decides that he needs to set the house on fire, figuring that without the house, there is no ghost.
There's nothing for belief.
Yes.
Yeah.
If the house doesn't exist, the story can't exist.
Yeah, exactly. because they've never seen this guy out of the house.
I love that the axe twist.
Yeah, he like this ghost is like a cool little twist, but I like the idea that he's got a little bit of stank on it because it's this like urban legend thing. So if the belief brings him to life, then it's also kind of like people are like imagining what they'd want the movie of him to look like. So he's kind of cool.
Yes.
Like there's something kind of fun about that, I think. I think it works. But yeah, this ghost couldn't pass the door. We saw that last time when Sam and Dean got
typically
out of
they're often locked to a place.
Yeah.
Unless there's like specific actions like in The Woman in White where it needs to lure somebody. Typically it's associated with a place, but sometimes it's also related to an action.
For this one, because it's something just created. Even Sam says like, what if the legend changes and he's allowed to leave the house? And then Dean says like, we'll come back and kill him.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Sam, this is a very sort of philosophical question to end on. Sam says like, of all the things we've hunted, how many of them exist because people
thought of them,
believed in them?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Pretty wild.
I mean, I remember the first time you watched this.
That sentence has a new meaning watching through the show.
Well, yeah.
But it's kind of neat. Yeah.
So now the Sam and Dean are saying farewell to Ed and Harry.
And they say like, we just got a call from an important Hollywood producer. They're packing their car up. Their car, like, they have all these like fucking like flamingo lawn ornaments and stuff. It's just like not what you need for like traveling around the country doing things.
Little lingo for you. We're off to La La Land.
It's just, Sam's like, that's really great, guys. Best, Dean's like, best of luck. The guys get in there. Ed says, nothing to feel bad about. It's just about talent, sheer, unabashed talent. Even when they know they shit themselves and Sam and Dean actually fought a thing,
they won't be willing to.
They just so full of, he does like glasses off his face sort of thing.
So good.
It's really funny how smarmy and full of himself they are.
Which is funny because the phone call was from Sam.
Sam says, I got a confession to make. I was the one who called them and told them I was a producer. And Dean's like, that's a good prank.
Finally, a decent prank.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Dean says, I'm the one who put the dead fish in their backseat. Which is like, that's such a Sam and Dean thing. Where Dean's like, that'll get him. And Sam's like, I fucked with their heads.
Yeah. Such two like crazy level. But now they're on a truce, a prank war truce.
Yes, which I think is necessary.
Yeah, because it was starting to level up.
Yeah. What's the escalation? Yeah. It's cool to see that they both independently thought to prank the Ghostfacers.
I love it. Look at that shot. So many. This is one of the best looking.
They must have like had a crane for a couple of days or something.
I know,
right?
because I feel like we don't typically get crane shots like that.
No, we don't. Yeah, it's true.
There
we go. That was Hell House.
Hell House.
Good
She's
God,
a hell house. She's mighty. Letting it all hang out.
She's a hell house.
So we finally got the Ghostfacers in this episode. We finally got there. I can't believe it.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, our namesakes.
Yeah, what an episode.
Do you think if the Ghostfacers met us, they'd feel about us the way Sam and Dean feel about them? Because now they're like a mid-tier.
Yeah.
They're not good at it, but they also know that supernatural things exist.
We're doing a podcast about supernatural
We're doing
things.
a podcast about supernatural things.
So
like about them. They are still a step closer to it than we are.
They're actually going out and investigating. We're not even doing that.
No, we're just talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be funny if they were like, ugh. Like, they had the same opinion of us as Sam and Dean do of them.
I mean, yeah, that's amazing. But they also had that opinion of Sam and Dean.
Yeah, I mean, that's also true. Yeah, that's a good point. They just have that opinion about everybody.
Exactly. So why don't we give our reviews?
Oh, I love the idea of the tulpa. I think it's a really smart idea. I love, this is a thing that ties to like comics, things I like in comics, especially when you're talking about like old gods or things like that. It even ties back to like that Scarecrow episode, right? Where it's like that town was still empowering that god, like through a sort of, you can imagine in an older time that god would have been crazy powerful. Now it has to rely on this fucking town to sacrifice couples. And it's that idea of like belief and then the power that a spirit or an entity gains from belief. In the case of a tulpa, its entire existence is owed to belief, which is just like a cool next step to that.
Yeah.
I think that's a really neat idea. I really like the introduction of Ed and Harry in here. I mean, of course, at this point, this is only their first appearance, but really fun to see the dynamic between people actually hunting supernatural things and people who probably relatively earnestly believe in supernatural things, but have never encountered them and are in it for the wrong reasons, like fame and money and stuff like that. And then there's also the next level of like people like Craig in that shop where he's like, there are no supernatural things. I painted a bunch of symbols in a house and now someone's dead. What's happening?
Yeah.
So you kind of get all of these different levels of like awareness of
belief,
how the world works.
Yeah.
And in an episode about belief, that's kind of interesting to see. It's a good episode to bring them in for. So I like it. There's some great shots, some cool transitions, like that day and a night thing, good crane shots in that. It's a well shot episode. The boys are fun interacting with each other. I'd give this one a 4.
Yeah.
It's not like I would say where this episode falls down is the action's not great.
It's okay.
It's fine, but like there are some A+ action moments in other episodes.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I'm docking at points. I'd give this a 4. I think this is a good episode.
Yeah. This is one that I often will go back to. I love getting Ed and Harry in this, which I find crazy that they're alienating to a lot of the fan base.
That has been maybe the craziest thing about sort of joining the wider online community of supernatural fans is seeing how many people hate them. Because I thought they were like one of the most interesting little tertiary things to populate the world. I wouldn't want them in every episode, but I love that they're out there.
It's such a mirror to like what the guys do.
It's got all like the trademarks of like the stolen valor thing and like
for me, and also like during this time period is when all of those supernatural shows popped up, like the investigation shows. All of those shows popped up at the same time, so it's fun to sort of go like, this is what it would really be like, and then this is what those type of guys in that world would be like. Like for me, it's such a smart move to put them in there.
Well, and I mean, in the context of this, they are the danger.
Yeah.
Because this is a world with supernatural things, and their ignorance and like quest for fame created a monster that killed at least 2 women.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
like they
are the problem. Yeah.
They're lucky 17 let them go.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, they've caused things have caused less harm, and Sam and Dean have killed them. Like,
yeah,
it's true. I mean, this episode is beautiful, like really well shot.
Totally.
I think that it's super funny, which is you're getting that balance of like really scary and really funny at the same time, which I love. That when they start understanding that I feel like this is one of the first episodes that they really figure out the show.
Yeah, I mean, this episode feels like it, other than the fact that they look young and stuff like that, it feels like you could drop it into almost any season of the show.
Yeah, like it's got the right level of
conceptually,
humor.
And your self-awareness and humor.
There's some meta stuff going on in there. There's from a direction standpoint, he's even doing some sort of like inspirational sort of filmmaking and. Yeah. I mean, this is one of my favorite episodes in a lot of ways. I don't think it's the best episode with those 2 guys.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely one of my favorite episodes this season. I'm going to give it 4.5.
Wow. Oh, I didn't even say what.
Yeah, 4.5. Shoot. What
I gave mine 4. I'll say that's 4 basement jars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mine's 4.5 towel shorts.
Oh, God, yeah.
What I wouldn't give to be those shorts.
Yeah, what I wouldn't give to be that 0.5.
Well, that is it for this week. Maybe you have a different take on this episode. Explain to us why you don't like the Ghostfacers.
If you're one of those people that do not like Ed and Harry, please, like, I don't want to start beef. I legitimately want to know why you don't like them because it's baffling to me.
I know. Legitimately, let us know online.
Please.
So you can say hello to us through our email,
ghostfacerspodcast@gmail.com.
Or chat with us on social media.
Yeah, at ghostfacerspod, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And if you like Ghostfacers, if you like Supernatural more or less, if you like Supernatural, there's a good chance that you'll like our other podcast and the content within it, which is all about DC Comics.
That's right. It's called the Dr. DC Podcast, which you can find on Facebook and Instagram and wherever you get your podcasts.
Start
And
with Constantine. I mean, there's a direct correlation there.
Totally. Yeah, we do a lot of episodes about magic things, and a lot of the concepts cross over. Things about vampires or about,
And you'll get a lot of Supernatural chat in those anyways.
Yes, I mean, frequently. Yeah. At the very least, we're just as thirsty over there.
That's right. The Dr. DC Podcast comes out every Wednesday. Find anywhere that you get your podcast. That's it. Say goodbye, bitch. Jerk.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.